Hey guys, welcome back to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 1982 experimental New York science fiction film Liquid Sky. This is a film by director Slava Tsukerman and stars fashion model / actress Anne Carlisle. The movie is a renowned cult film for its really outrageous aesthetic, for its beautiful visuals, its iconic soundtrack and sound design, which apparently influenced a club subgenre called electroclash. Never heard of it. I'm not that far into the scene. Yeah, the movie is a drug trip. It's a visual feast, and it is one of the most sex negative films I've seen in a while. So yeah, if all that sounds compelling to you, let's watch Liquid Sky. And before we get started, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. It's a way to start a movie. It's so disjointed. This is DIY filmmaking right here.
Some stuff. You got any money, babe? No, but I want to get some tomorrow. Let's go to your place. Right now with you? Sure.
I wonder whose apartment that is.
Do you know where she keeps the stuff? Don't even ask me about that.
A woman dressed as a man, dressing as a woman.
I don't usually fuck girls.
Shakespeare, through and
That's
through.
Okay, I prefer women to men anyway.
This is also such an interesting like intersection of club scenes for this era.
What kind of drugs will you have?
Anything you want.
All right.
Sounds fun. I miss that version of New York. That version of New York I never encountered.
Liquid sky. The key to heaven.
Oh no.
People have been using opiates for centuries. Ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, India, China, everybody used it.
They all look great. Different era, man. Yes. Just be as awkward and white as possible, but live your truth. You see, white people have a culture too. It's very alien, but it is its own culture.
Did you ever do Quaaludes before?
I've done more Quaaludes than you have aspirin. They don't excite me.
Why don't you just take these, now?
Because I don't want them.
My father could get you a job as an actress. You're pretty enough.
I actually love how fractious the editing style of this movie is.
Say anything to get laid. It's like everyone else from California. What, do you have a cock for a brain, baby? Don't fuck with me, you asshole.
True New Yorker.
Why don't you go fuck your father if he loves you so much?
Big fucking horse!
Men very decidedly do not rock. God, I mean, that is not a nice apartment, but wow, its location. This apartment location is just killing me. I can't even believe. Look at the view. Oh, so it was identifying the heroine, because it did the same effect with the mask earlier, and the mask is where she was keeping the heroine.
In the beginning, aliens were spotted near places with large amounts of heroin. Later, aliens appeared in specific subcultures.
The score, the soundtrack to this movie is so good. Did Wendy Carlos work on this?
She doesn't care anything about you. She's only using you.
That guy does not know how to roll up a joint. I mean, I
You're
can
ruining
sympathize,
your,
but
career.
wow.
Your future.
Nobody fucks at the club. Everybody's gay.
All your costumes. They're just participation in some kind of phony theater.
Are you trying to say that your blue jeans were theater?
This is a perfect place for watching.
I'm ordering some Chinese. Is that okay?
Perfect.
You spend all your energy trying to get me excited, and then you want to throw me out?
Like an outwardly predatory Richard Dreyfuss.
Please leave.
Okay, I'd like 2 orders of shrimp fried rice, an order of shrimp and pea pods, an order of shrimp with lobster sauce.
Okay, so it's not related to heroin?
Owen.
Oh, shit.
What the fuck is going on in here? You know, I always dreamt to fuck a dead man. Now's my chance.
You're crazy.
Interesting.
Don't do it.
Don't get moral with me, whore.
Just beautiful. Just maximal use of this location. I am so jealous of whoever actually owned that apartment. I mean, if they location scouted, that's fine. But if one of them actually owned that fucking apartment, I'll be livid.
We're gonna just leave him there. We're going to Berlin, baby, aren't we? So how do you expect to entertain me?
The way men have always entertained women.
I think the movie has perhaps 1 or 2 too many sexual assault narratives for my taste, or plot beats.
You laugh. I'm gonna make you come.
Make me sick, you wimpy junkie.
You fucking dyke. Just a dyke.
You're so attractive to me, I'm just coming and
Emblematic of the 80s, I suppose. That era we all look back on fondly in Stranger Things and other media. This is the ethos that pervaded.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
This isn't really a serious remark or anything. It's just like a little aside, but the little inserts that are in, like, let's just trace this through 3 science fiction films. This, The Man Who Fell to Earth, and Under the Skin. It's an interesting kind of, I don't know, beat, accepted trope of the genre, specifically the sci-fi film genre, that you can have like a psychedelic departure, and it's it can have a literal meaning or interpretive meaning. 2001: A Space Odyssey as well. It is interesting because the films don't necessarily share a narrative common ground to justify the trope. The trope is just generated from its existence within the genre in general.
Hey, you! What's with these glass arrows in the end?
And now you're telling me that aliens have come here and they're also looking for drugs. It's just incredible.
Corpses.
There's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's deliberate, but there's an interesting idea that's being established with Margaret, that the alien is killing all of her rapists, that she's developing a body count similar to the kind that men would allegedly have, but it's obviously like kind of the dark mirror of it, the terrible version of it, both in process and in result. I mean, that's true in the female revenge horror genre, subgenre in general.
Opium users have said that the drug creates a similar feeling than what people experience during orgasm.
Okay, so when the men are having orgasms, that's when the alien is striking them.
Orgasms are dangerous.
Drugs.
Don't be impatient, be cool.
They look good. I really appreciate this duality of Anne Carlisle, of this identity as a fashionista supermodel and as a petulant Upper East Side teenager.
Your photographs that Adrian was just showing me indicate a fairly traditional upbringing, yet you seem to have veered off towards some obscure fantasy look.
I don't know. The film isn't necessarily going deep into this at this point, but I do like the idea that these modes of self-expression, the makeup, the artistry,
all this weird makeup and strange clothes.
The fashion becomes commodified and becomes identifiable, and it eventually constricts you to a certain kind of identity, that there is no kind of open form of identity or communication. Everything eventually becomes compartmentalized and categorized.
The two Miss Americas.
Great idea. And we could end it with the two of them fucking.
He can't fuck. You're just a chicken. Please, Jimmy, don't start on me now.
All these men in her life.
You look tired. You look old. And ugly. And washed up. Stop it.
I really do like her, like, pouty teenage boy disposition. It's a weird affectation, but it's like James Deanish in a way. It feels like, you know, she could be... I feel like she would be a better leading man in Picnic than William Holden.
One day the chicken will
I don't know if Anne Carlisle could play a man well, but she could certainly play a teenage boy really well.
You're so ugly. And you are so beautiful. You're the most beautiful boy in the world.
This is an amazing kind of, I don't know, reflection going on of masculine and feminine, of adult and child, of reality and narrative.
I can only love you.
Come on. She's beautiful.
She is beautiful. They're both beautiful. You might look at this and see a sort of narcissism, but I think this is like a really interesting kind of synthesis that's going on. Incorporation of the aspects of yourself that are self-pitying and self-hating, and finding like the good kernels out of that.
I'm so ugly and you're so beautiful. I think you should hit me. Let me see your beautiful cock. Come on, baby.
Eek!
I'll do it good. This movie has a bleak outlook on sexuality. This pussy has teeth. No one should fuck me ever. I kill all the people that fuck me. That's it. If you fuck me, you'll die.
I'll bet you $300 I can fuck Margaret and not die. You like to fuck, baby, better than anything in the world.
This is like early to be about the AIDS narrative, isn't it? 82?
Don't do it, Adrian.
These good people
Really?
want to see me fuck you now. I'm gonna fuck you.
Help me hold her down. She likes
This would only be, I don't know. It seems like this would have been filmed like way too late to actually be capturing the ethos of what was gonna take over New York, but maybe it was sensing it in the wind. I mean, this is like an even fuller clarification of it. I guess that makes sense coming around to it, but it just seems so early. But like wrapping it around this like heroin epidemic, that this is specifically a drug-fueled alien invasion, and it's a sex-fueled alien invasion. I mean, it being heterosexual sex kind of muddles it a bit, but it does occur between like a lesbian interaction as well.
If we think clearly, this can all be explained. It's easy to explain.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
I'm a killer.
This can't be about AIDS, can it?
I kill with my cunt.
She's the original Catwoman. She's the original Selena Kyle.
You wanted to know where I'm from? I'm from Connecticut. Mayflower stock.
This is a very loose connection. This is just a connection I'm making for my own sake, pausing for a second. But I do want to like draw a connection between this and Exhibition, and also to Selena Kyle, I guess, a little. But there's a interesting metaphor that the three films weave about kind of like a homestead being representative of like female sexuality. I just think that's an interesting lens. It's more generalized, like the home or the apartment or whatever represents the interior mind of the protagonist, and their specific kind of gilded cage. The way in which these women are like confined to these spaces that's made kind of like prison-like, it becomes like a for me at least, a treatment on their own like feelings of inhibition, especially with regards to their sexuality. In the cases of Selena Kyle and of Margaret, I think it's justified because the world is extremely hostile and outright violent in its displays and its demands of their sexuality. I think it's more complicated in the case of Exhibition, where there is a push and pull of a desire for sexuality, but the sexuality that's rendered is a kind of like cocktail of violence and passivity, of like almost of like impotence manifesting itself in two different extremes. And that's kind of like manifested in her case with a house that she has this really she and her husband share this like, or partner, I don't know if they're married, they share like this really resplendent modern architecture, like specifically designed home, and part of the narrative is them trying to sell it off and whether or not they'll get the correct buyers for it, because it's like it edges on the it edges into the territory of being art as well, like an art piece as well as being a residence. And there's a specific kind of tension with her and the household, where the household represents like an ideal state of what her life and her marriage and her career is supposed to represent. It's like modernist, sleek, minimal. It's like very, very outwardly facing, appealing, and inside it has like kind of like caves or alcoves, and there's like undiscovered layers that kind of like hide something else. And it's not even necessarily that it's hiding something nefarious or evil or troubled. It's the fact that those divides exist at all. In some cases, they're just like completely empty, and it's just like facade on top of facade on top of facade.
So it's a pretty small car within what looks like quite a big lift shaft itself.
Yeah, I don't know how we...
And there's a specific room that she utilizes to create her art installations, and that's where she exhibits the most kind of like exhibition per se, being a performance artist and an installation artist. And there's like one window that faces the outside, and it's like a mode with which she can exhibit who she really is within the confinement of this one small studio space, this one room in this otherwise resplendent household that she could show herself off to the world. But I think the way I remember it, the way that the window faces, it faces inward into the yard. And so even if she wants to fully exhibit herself, there's no audience for it. And it's this beautiful, beautiful household, but nobody wants to buy it because it's too high maintenance, and the only room she finds like is like fertile within it is this one room, and it kind of like to me represents a female body, or represents her body, that it's beautiful to look at but like kind of like impossible to touch, even though there's this wellspring going on in one room that's waiting to be unlocked.
That my prince would come, and he would be a lawyer, and I would have his children. Oh, how boring.
And there's this kind of like similar treatment with Margaret and her room and her space. Her space is beautiful. Her space is adorned with all of this artistry and all this magic and these lights and this creativity, but it's constantly invaded. There's like no locks to it. She shares it with somebody who kind of dominates her financially or whatever.
You don't give me this stuff, I'm gonna rat on you. He smashed up our place looking for it.
Who allows everybody in, and they take over.
I was taught that I should come to New York, become an independent woman, and my prince would come, and he would be...
And so she invites this alien, or she doesn't invite the alien, but the alien arrives, and she welcomes its help in kind of like extracting the invaders, of removing the invaders. And it's interesting because it's a room that, it's an apartment that constantly like displays itself, that shines, that's bright, that exhibits itself And that's what draws people in, but she's not doing it to draw people in. She's doing it to express herself.
Than David Bowie himself. And they call me beautiful. Isn't it fashionable?
It's a really beautiful image of just this painted face in the darkness.
Come on, who's next?
That she's kind of like seen as this facade, but she lays in wait in this she's consumed by darkness.
How to be a woman. Want them when I want you.
I think this is an Ace narrative. She just like doesn't want to have sex anymore. It's a beautiful Ace narrative. If you want to watch a movie that is similarly about a supermodel that blurs the lines between reality and narrative, there is Chow Manhattan. I'll talk about that at the end, but I'm enjoying this more than Chow Manhattan. Yeah, I can see more clearly the kind of like inspirations or the motivations behind the inspirations that, say, Under the Skin would derive from this. It is, in the end, it has developed into a Black Widow narrative. And I think there's an interesting push and pull in Under the Skin as well, that the character uses their charms or their wiles to attract and eventually entrap men in the beginning of the narrative, but that power is eventually wrested from her control. Even if she's an alien, even if she's a non-human, still she has the facade of being a woman. She has the trappings of being a woman, and so she's subject to the same weaknesses and the same brutalizations, the same mistreatments that a woman would face. And there's this push and pull that even when you're this otherworldly creature, this powerful being, this inexplicable force, you are still beholden to social confinement, social powers. Is she gonna kill herself with heroin? That would be like a New York narrative, certainly. She like finally hates herself too much, and so she decides to OD or let the aliens take her away.
We killed them all. There's no one left. Why did he kill me?
Did you have an orgasm?
No. You can't leave me.
Yeah, such as it is. You really do hate to see it. Yeah, unfortunate parallels to Chow Manhattan. She's iconic in whatever she does. Wow. And interesting parallels with The Man Who Fell to Earth as well. I know she mentioned Bowie previously, and she's not an alien specifically, but the kind of like ending of a narrative of something that's so fantastical and something that's out of this world, ending with what is essentially like an overdose. It's ending with something that is so banal and so commonplace and so human that the kind of the angelic or the transcendental can be brought down to the base human level. Anyways, I love that. Really doesn't need to be said. This is probably one of the most sex-negative movies I've covered on this channel. Maybe this paired with Trouble Every Day. Yeah, this was brilliant. Just like brilliantly designed. I'm just like so shocked that it ran in parallel or anticipated the AIDS crisis. That's just like very, very strange. Apparently, the director Slava Tsukerman said that he was unaware of the AIDS crisis at the time of making this film, and it would be in its early stages. Like the wider public wouldn't, or even like the gay public or the scene, the ones who were knowledgeable of like the drug scene in New York, the club scene in New York, probably didn't have as much codified knowledge of it at that point. So that was a wild anticipation. Yeah, like an incredibly sex negative movie, a movie about about toxic sexuality, about violent sexuality, and a good argument for Chris Evans assistant makeup, a good argument for asexuality, for ace being on the ace spectrum, as I've seen in a while. Yeah, it's a really sad story. The thing that was expressed by Margaret, by Anne Carlisle's character, it runs a lot of parallels to its forebear and The Man Who Fell to Earth. It bears a lot of similarities to one of its spiritual successors, Under the Skin. It bears a lot of similarities to a contemporary Chow Manhattan, which is similarly about a 70s era supermodel in the New York scene, in like Andy Warhol's factory at the time, Edie Sedgwick. I really can't recommend you watch Chow Manhattan. It's a ponderous watch about a really, frankly, tragic subject, and there's kind of like a lurid fascination in the movie with how it plays out in parallel and concert with the actual life of its leading lady, Edie Sedgwick. But covering similar ground on the kind of like the fashion scene, the supermodel scene of New York, the drug scene of New York in the 70s, the culture around fame, around drug paraphernalia, around the rising presence of the glittering flame of the 70s, of flaming out, of burning out, of dying young. It's just a tragic movie. But yeah, this I enjoyed a lot more than Chow Manhattan. And apparently there's supposed to be a sequel that is in the works. We'll see when that comes out. Yeah, this is a brilliant watch. There's so many different avenues you could look at this movie. You could look at it in terms of the fashion. You could look at it in terms of the music, the sound design. You could look at it in terms of the scene, the club scene of New York in the 70s. Just a fascinating lens. The sexuality, the sexual politics of the movie. Really beautiful leading performer, leading actress in Anne Carlisle. It's a worthwhile look. Yeah, that was Liquid Sky. What a mindfuck. Let me know what you think. And in the meantime, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more old, obscure, and art house films. And until next time, keep watching the skies.